Very good morning to you all. Any response? All right. So I was also a student like you once, not from Nongstoin, but quite remote than this area. So, we are all gathered here to commemorate this World Environment Day. First and foremost, I would like to thank Pastor Brink for inviting me here and my team as well. I have my staff here. We all came here to, today is a very busy day, but it's not just today. Uh, this is actually the work that we do. It's our core fundamentals, our core values from the Forest and Environment Department, to put all our efforts in conserving the environment. And this is not just our job, actually, it is everyone's job. So, our environmental action needs to be implemented, not just by us, but by every individual that is alive. You all sang the song, Heal the World, Make It a Better Place, if you care enough for the living, as well as the non-living. So, this year's theme is land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience. Do you understand the meaning of land restoration? Yes or no? Yes. What do we do in land restoration? We try to restore whatever the land that is, not cultivable. There are times when there is a land, you do some deforestation, you cut the trees or you burn it. For our livelihood, we need. Maybe your parents, they are businessmen, they might cut the trees, but you can be a change maker. You can tell them there are things which will satisfy our need, and if it becomes greed, it'll start destroying whatever is meant for us, for our sustenance, I would say. So we call it as sustainable. So desertification, when the land is not restored, what happens? You see sometimes. Let me just there are areas where there are plants, and what happens when you start removing them? Sometimes the trees, the seeds, the way they disperse the seeds. I don't know whether you get the point or not. The way the seeds, they transfer from one place to another. Sometimes it's through air, they are very just like pine trees. So what does the people says in this area? Pom to cloud, the trees will come by itself. So, but there are certain areas where it doesn't happen. There are channels of seed dispersal, I would say. So, let me just give a brief example. What is the role of butterflies? Anybody who knows a little bit about biology, science? What is the role? What are the roles of butterflies? Anybody? Single word, please. I'll request our pastor to give a prize if you know. Okay. The butterflies. What are their roles? Sometimes, if you see, they move from one plant, they suck the sap, they goes to the other. What are the roles of honeybees? Kingap kile you. The roles of honeybees, from one flower to another flower, they keep taking the sap, and that their feet plays a big role. What their feet does is they bring the pollen to the stigma, and that is pollination. You have heard the word of pollination? Yes. Okay. So their job is done. Honeybees, pollination, fine. Now, what are the roles of, what are the roles of birds? Anybody? What does the bird does in the forest? They just, chirp, they just sing, or they have a role to play. A role to play, right? So what does the birds does? What they do is they eat those fruits, those wild fruits, maybe in the forest or maybe here and there. They eat along with the seeds, and then they excrete. That is a natural phenomenon. When we eat, we also excrete. We cannot just keep eating without excreting. So That is a natural phenomena. And this is very beneficial for the earth. They are the one who takes the seeds from one place to the other. Did you see sometimes the roof of your house, be it cemented house, sometimes there are plants that grow. Where does the seed comes from? Sometimes it's through the air or mostly through birds. You got my point? Now, you know, be it animals as well. Animals, they eat the fruits, they excrete. They are the agents of seed dispersal. When we see now, what we do is when we destroy, we don't restore the land, there is desertification. So, what happens when we cut down the forest? We cut down the trees, I would say. Then there are no, like they cannot survive, there are no food for them, there are no food, there is no shelter, they cannot, the birds, where will they roost, they would say. They cannot sit there. So, and then their extinction happens. Most of us, we don't realize. Because what happens, these birds, these animals, these other living beings, they don't have a voices like you and I. Anything happens to us, we raise a voice. We started, we started doing all our demonstrations, sit-in demonstration, so many of protests. But the birds and animals, they don't do that. They always search for a place where they could live. So that is the issues that now desertification is also very rampant, and then drought also happens. Let me just give an example. Okay, let me ask one question. How much percent of water is there in our planet? How much? Okay, 70 plus. Right, more than 70%. If it is more than 70%, it is very difficult for us to live. That means it's full of water and the land is very, very minimal. Okay? And if we count the mountains, we cannot live there. So where are the water stored mostly? You tell me. Where are the water stored? It is stored mostly in those wherever there is a glacier, where the temperature is very less. You look at the Arctic, you look at the Atlantic. I think you know all those. Okay, recently, I think this past few weeks, there is a news that the last remaining glacier of one country is being swept away. Which country is that? Come on, you have to be good with general studies. We are at a generation where we are so good with technology. People are so good with Instagram. They are so good with social media. Let me just tickle your brain at this time. Do you know the country? Who have read the news? The last remaining glacier of one country. What country is that? What country is that? Okay. The country is Venezuela. If you read, okay. Then, what happened is, if we say the world is facing unprecedented challenges due to climate change. Unprecedented. If you look, flood, because why? When glacier is being washed away, is being evaporated, then water comes down more. And when it comes down more, then the sea level will rise. And then the land that is nearby the sea, they all will be inundated under the water. So what happened is floods is rampant. So many lives are lost. That is the issue of climate change. You and I might say, okay, we did not witness much of climate change here. Let me just give a brief illustration. You look at the rivers, you can ask your parents. There are certain rivers that in those days, in the old age, when they were young, that time the rivers were like very big. And now the rivers are shrinking. Why they are shrinking? If we see the forest cover is reducing. When the forests are reducing, we should understand now, we have ample amount of rain now, but this rain, if there are no forests, they will just be washed away down. Because we are in where? West Khasi Hills, this is a hilly area, the water will seeps down, it will go down. So then what happened during, the rivers, we say it, in the olden days, those rivers are perennial, I would say. Perennial, you know the meaning of perennial? Pisutut on perennial? Perennial means all year round. You know, kadap baik. But when you look now, most of the rivers dried up during winter. They become seasonal, only during summer. That is the issues that you and I are facing. For us, okay, fine. When it is, winter season or before spring comes, we can just buy water. That is fine. But you look at the aquatic species, this life that lives in the water. For them, there are no means. They don't have money like you and I. We cannot demand, give us water to drink. This water we could buy. But you look at those species that live in the water, they cannot say. They are voiceless. And what do we humans do is the waste that we throw. Hayeng la jong la khoi. It's all spick and spank. But when we look outside, you look at the drainage system that we have. You look at the river. Wherever human civilization is there is pollution. So, in this morning, I just want to say that all of us, there is a slogan. Let me just look at the slogan. There is a slogan, they say, this year's slogan, our land, our future, we are generation restoration. Can we all say together, our land, our future, we are generation restoration. Okay. So let me just give you another example. Okay, before going to that example, one question. Which is, okay, you might be participating in quiz competition. Which is the largest river island? Come on, I'm tickling your brain. Which class to which class do we have here from? 6 to 10. Okay. 10 wala, they might be so intelligent. Just tell me. You might be participating in quiz competition. That's what we do. I belong from a village, Ryangdo, with some of my colleagues here. So, which is the largest river island? Come on. It starts with M. It is in India. Okay. Fine, I'll just tell you. We have here in Assam, we call it as Majuli. Have you heard the word Majuli? No, okay. This is the largest river island, okay? It has got UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So, this river island is in those areas where the river Brahmaputra is there. Majuli, there is a district also out there. So this river island Majuli is there. It is the largest river island, and then erosion happens in those areas. When there is so much of water, when climate change is there, whatever natural barrier is there, they all being washed away. You see, water at a particular amount is okay for us. When it is too much, the floods, it creates havoc. I think last year, if you would read the news, I don't know, our fellow students here, our dear students, I don't know, you read the news or not, you see the situation in Himachal Pradesh, how the flood just washed away. The building like this, school of Mount Hermon also, when there is flood, it can just wash away. We don't know when that situation happens. This is the effect of climate change. So what happened in Majuli, if you see, there is one person who is a change maker. His name is Jadav Payeng. If you look, he is called as the forest man of India. Let me just, okay. He is the forest man of India. He even got his award, Padma Shri. So I think you will know it later about all these awards that have been awarded by our Honorable President. This person, what happens is, he is a single person, alone. A lone person, he created a forest. He do planting alone. Sometimes most of us, we need global recognition. Whatever we do, we post in social media. If people compliment well, fine, we'll go ahead. The moment they say not good, we will just back down. but this person, he is not in those in that internet age. He has a purpose. He was a change maker. Alone, he put an effort. He do some plantations. He think about the biodiversity. There is a loss. Extinction is very rampant nowadays. You know, every year, some or the other species they extinct. You might say these microbes are not good, but in our stomach, without microbes, our digestion cannot be complete. You know, every living beings and every non-living beings has a role to play. We have to understand that. That is the balance of our ecosystem. So this person was a change maker. Now, I would say this to each and every one of us. You and I, alone also, we can be a change maker. Do you believe that? Yes? Yes, okay. So before I conclude, I would just want to say this thing. As individuals, communities, businesses, and government, we must come together to address these challenges. We must commit to reduce our carbon footprint. When I say carbon footprint means what happened? So much of carbon dioxide is there in this earth. What locks the carbon dioxide? Do you know? I'm dealing so much with science today. I don't know, it might hit you, it might not hit you as well. What locks the carbon dioxide? Can you tell me? Mostly, where are the carbon dioxide stored? Carbon, where it is stored? You might not know now. It is stored in the soil, and then it is there in the air, and then mostly it is locked by the plants. Okay, the more the number of plants, the more the carbon dioxide is locked. When the carbon dioxide is locked, then the climate change also reduces. The temperature rise reduces. When we say climate change, mostly we talk about temperature rise. Whenever there is more carbon dioxide, just like we are sitting now here, we feel it is more hot. You go outside, it is more cold. Why? Because here there is more carbon dioxide. You and I are breathing so much. So you and I can be a change maker. We should focus on planting more trees as well and conserve our environment. We have to say to our parents, to our friends as well, we should put an initiative to start, conserving this, whatever biodiversity we are having. When I say bio means living, diversity means so much of diversity that we are having, okay? Then we should also commit to protect whatever natural resources that we have and promote sustainable practices in all aspects of our life. When I say sustainable, don't come, kat kumbapi, don't come. Not to satisfy our greed. We should also see. So let us reaffirm our commitment on this World Environment Day, to environmental stewardship and pledge to do our part in preserving our planet. Together, we can make a difference. Do you believe it? Thank you so much.
So, we are very fortunate to have Dr. Shipstanding Dingan with us today. So I would like to introduce more about him. He is my friend, and at the same time he is my colleague in the church ministry. He is very active in the church ministry, and he is a worship leader in the church at Rengdo, Church of Jesus Christ, Rengdo. Sir, your presence is truly inspiring all of us. Despite being very young, he is very active. He is both an active officer and deeply involved in church ministry. Dr. Dingan is a student of horticulture and has completed at very young age PhD. That's why we call him Dr. Dingan. A few years ago, he served as a food inspector before successfully joining the Meghalaya Forest Service, MFS. Currently, he is an assistant officer in the Forest Department as has been introduced earlier. One day, he will become part of the Indian Forest Service, which is a top service in the Indian government and ranks alongside the IS and IPS. We look forward to inviting him to our school one day to give a motivational speech on education and careers. I think you accept that. Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your being with us. It's really, really inspiring all of us. At his very young age, now he become an officer in the forest department. And one day, he will be in the Indian Forest Service, top rank in Indian government service. So I would like to invite him one day to give the motivational speech for all the students. We are struggling to whom to invite, but I told Madam Principal, you should invite our friend so that he will lead you, he will inspire you, so that one day you will become like him. Thank you so much.